This is a lesson from Kettlebell Fundamentals, an online course by Kat's Kettlebell Dojo. To access the full course, click the link in the description. One of the most important concepts in kettlebell training and really all of lifting and in general for healthy shoulders is called shoulder packing. But it is a difficult concept for a lot of people to understand. So in this video, I will explain what it means to pack your shoulder. There are two things that a packed shoulder needs to be. So two standards that a packed shoulder needs to meet in order to be considered a packed shoulder. First standard is that it must be down. So the opposite of down is up by the ear. And what very often happens when we sit at the computer, our shoulder starts creeping up toward our ears and we start shrugging like this. Our neck gradually becomes very short. So the packed shoulder is the shoulder that stays down, making your neck long. The second standard for the packed shoulder is external rotation. So this is a little bit harder to understand, but if you try to think about internal rotation as rounding the shoulders, so that's internal rotation, your thumbs are moving inwards. If you think about your thumbs, they're moving inwards, that's internal, and external, your thumbs are moving outwards. Now, your thumbs don't actually have to point out for your shoulder to be in an external rotation, and you can easily try this out. So you can first turn your thumbs out, then you will feel that your shoulder slightly rotates back, so it pinches the shoulder blades slightly together, and then keeping the shoulders there, just drop your arms. And you will notice that the shoulders are going to stay there. So again, you're going to rotate your thumbs out. And then keeping the shoulders where they are, drop your arms. So those two things mean that your shoulder is packed. First, that the shoulder is down rather than by your ears. So the neck is long. And second, that your arms and your shoulder is externally rotated. Another way to imagine this packed position is that you are squeezing a lemon with your armpit. So if you drop the shoulder down away from your ear, and then imagine there is a lemon right here, and you're going to squeeze your armpit to squeeze out that lemon. So squeeze the armpit down. You can also do this with your arms in front of you. So you squeeze your armpit down and you squeeze that lemon. What you will notice when this happens, when you squeeze your armpits down, is your arms become shorter. So if you think this is sort of an arm that is not packed, this is a shoulder that is not packed. The shoulder that is packed, when you squeeze your armpit down, see how much shorter my arm has become. So what I call it is short arms, long neck. So that's another way to give yourself a cue. When you already know what it feels like to pack the shoulder, you can also think short arms, long neck. Don't expect it to happen overnight. It is a practice, but every time you do any kettlebell movements, anytime you practice your mobility, just try to practice it with long neck and short arms that are screwed into the shoulder socket. When you practice kettlebell movements, this is what it will look like. When you practice a deadlift, long neck, externally rotated arms, generally this will mean that your chest is in front of your arms when you're down at the bottom rather than behind your arms. So you won't be here, you will be here. So your arms are externally rotated, shoulders are back and down, the neck is long. Same thing at the top. What happens to a lot of people at the top of the deadlift is they're here. This is not a good position. You want to drop your shoulders and externally rotate your arms. So your chest is in front. Again, down, up. Everything stays down. Another way to think about it, when you move, the shoulder as you go down shouldn't be moving. Many people end up doing this when they go down. So the shoulder moves. Don't do that. Make your arms short. This will mean that your legs have to do more work, by the way. So many people are just too lazy and they just drop their arms here instead of using the legs to go down. In kettlebells, that's not what you do. And if you want to have healthy shoulders and back, don't do that. Instead, keep your shoulders packed, keep your arms short, and get down to the ground using the legs that nature gave you. So shoulders are staying in place, nice long neck, short arms, down and up. The shoulder is not moving. This pattern of packing the shoulder down and back becomes even more important and a bit more challenging when you move on from two-hand deadlift to one-arm deadlift, then to dead clean, dead snatch, swing, swing clean, and swing snatch. So all of these movements are hinge pattern movements, and they rely heavily on your ability to keep that shoulder packed back and down. Another fundamental movement pattern that relies heavily on you packing the shoulder is the press. And so the press is where you take the kettlebell from the rack position and extend it overhead. Now in the press, the packing expresses itself by first you keeping your shoulder down so that it doesn't shrug up to your ear. Instead, your neck remains long. That's first. Second, your armpit, as you press, should be pointing forward, which means your elbow is also pointing slightly forward rather than pointing out to the side like this, and your elbow sticking out to the side. So this is not a healthy position for the shoulder that when combined with shrugging, it can lead to impingement. Even without shrugging, it leads to shoulder problems. So it's best to keep the armpit pointing forward when you're pressing or holding the kettlebell overhead for overhead carries, snatch, get up, jerk, push press, all of the movements where the kettlebell ends up overhead. Make sure that armpit is pointing forward. So this is the incorrect way to press. First, shrugging the shoulder. Second, flaring the armpit to the side and the elbow to the side. You will notice that as a symptom, the kettlebell ends up hanging over your face and the thumb ends up pointing forward. So if you see that, that means something is going wrong. What you do to correct that? Rotate your thumb slightly back. The kettlebell should be on the side of your arm. Your elbow is pointing forward. Your armpit is pointing forward and your neck is long. The shoulders should be roughly at the same level. Again, incorrect, correct. So this was a tutorial about packing the shoulder and what it means. I hope it was helpful and good luck with the rest of your course.